Look at JCP and some other retailers ahead of the holiday season. Joining us this morning, Lori Wax is the president and co-founder of Cross Ledge Investments. Lori, good to have you back. Good morning.
Oh, nice to be with you, Carl.
Do you own any of JCP? And if you don't, would you?
We don't own it, and certainly there's just such a lack of clarity in terms of when, if, how this turnaround is going to come. Interestingly, we see this down 26%, and that's stunning enough. But Ron can't help himself, and halfway through the quarter, he spoke that trends were pretty similar to the prior quarter. So based on that, the last 6 weeks, trends decelerated to down around 30 to 35%.
Yeah, Courtney was just discussing some of the lack of consistency in Johnson's story. At least that's what some allege. Is that a fair criticism? And is that why we're seeing numbers like this? Is because the strategy is not clear, or maybe the strategy is clear and simply not working?
It's a combination. I can't get some of these numbers to add up either. I know he spoke about these new shop-in-shops doing $269 versus the overall company $134, and then he tried to look at comparable space. But he's also spoken about these new shops being 20% ahead of the rest of the store, which is a far cry from this double that he spoke about now. And if you look at it, these new shops, if they are now running this 20% ahead of the rest of the store, that's really just getting them back to where the productivity was in that space before this transformation program started. So definitely a tough time with the numbers that he's putting out there.
We've asked some other analysts about cash positions and whether or not the balance sheet needs to be the focus now. The general take among some is it's fine, it's okay. Inventories are not bloated going into the holidays. That's a plus. You got the third quarter behind you when you do need a lot of that money. But when would that start to be an issue for you, if assuming things don't turn around before the second half of next year?
Right. He was careful to say that, they're so excited, and everybody asks them why they're not going to roll out these great shop-in-shops faster. And he said, look, we are in charge of this, and we have to manage through this transformation. So he's kind of giving himself a little more leeway in terms of that cash drain. But he also says that next year will be a growth year, make no doubt about that. So it's talking out of both sides. He used to speak to saying that they would have $1 billion on cash at hand at the end of the quarter. Now they didn't come back and repeat that. They have $500 million now. So I think they've spoken about 36 months. This will be a transformed concept. A year from now, if they don't really start to see a dramatic improvement, they're going to start to have some real problems.
And by dramatic improvement, you mean, I assume you mean positive comps of any kind.
Yes, and maybe he has set the bar so low that he set the stage for a multi-year positive comp. It's just been a very expensive learning lesson.
Yeah, what a story it has been for anyone who's in retail or not. Lori, thank you for being with us today. We'll talk to you next time. Lori Wax joining us from Philly. Markets are paring their losses from earlier this morning, but given the week we've had, it's not saying much. We have a lot more on the impact of the fiscal cliff coming up. We'll be right back.